Hello everybody, and welcome to our return to streaming for 2026. It's our first stream, and it is also our first stream of a brand new format, of which you will shortly see when our camera zooms. There we go. Welcome to our first ever community inbox stream, and thank you so much, Roger, for joining. I say joining, this was kind of your idea. So thank you for suggesting it and helping us facilitate.
Thank you for having me. I ironed my T-shirt for this.
Oh, well.
So that's how you know I'm taking it seriously.
And I bought the worst jumper possible for a camera. Yeah. So, between us, we've got there. This is all mostly new equipment. So over the last couple of months, we've torn this room apart and put it back together. Hopefully people can hear us a lot better. We know the last time they saw us was building Medieval 3, and we had lapel mics, and I wore a turtleneck, Pav had long hair, and Life had a scarf, so we were three worst possible people. So we're here, we're live. I apologise for any rust we're shaking off. It's been, a whole year since we last saw you. But this is our community inbox stream, which is a brand new kind of stream, never done this kind of thing before. I did realise as I named it, we do community hangouts, which are a very different vibe to what this is going to be. If we say things that turn out to be wrong, we will correct them, but the intent here is for us to be honest, to be live, and we may say things that come across differently, but we'll try and circle back. I am just finishing off my intro, and then I will ask you a question, Roger. The thing I want to call out is I can't see chat for the first time ever, which is terrifying, but we are going to be taking live questions. So I have a fantastic group outside of the room who are going through your questions. They're picking them out, and they'll be filtering them through to me here. So you guys will be able to come in live. We've tried to gather questions that we think people are going to want to know. So make sure you listen to what we're saying, and then what else you want to add in. But we have 36 questions that we've written, and the sources for this. So obviously you opened up an inbox, which we'll go to in a second. But that is a source that we've taken and we've funneled into this stream, as you can tell by the name, Community Inbox, right? But we've also looked at the Discord server, at Reddit, at the forums. We've tried to find trends that we've seen, and now we're here, sitting here live, to pose these questions to you. I will say in advance, this is pretty much what you're going to be seeing for the next however long we chat. So if you want to just go onto another tab, play one of the Steam Next games, Wonderberg, I think was what I was playing last night. Fantastic.
Eugenics.
Yep. So Binding of Isaac's actually my favourite game. I've not yet played Eugenics, but feel free to leave us on in the background. We'll be talking. There won't be anything exciting to see apart from our faces. We'll do the discussions on a game-by-game basis. So Warhammer 3, and then I think it's then Warhammer 40,000, and then Medieval 3, and then we'll talk about some of the older title stuff that you discussed. So there's something here for everyone. Welcome to the stream, Roger.
Thanks. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for bearing with. So players may recognise your name from those end of year messages. This may be the first time they've seen your face.
Yeah.
But underneath, even on the stream, you can see it. You're Total War Vice President. It's a very cool sounding title. But what does that mean? What do you do?
Total Vice President of Total War, firstly, is a great title for LinkedIn, but it's a really bad title for just about everything else, because I feel like it's incredibly overwhelming in terms of like what people take away, especially as I'm working here at Creative Assembly. But what it means is that I am accountable and responsible for everything Total War related. All of the games that we're working on, the DLC, all of it. If it went wrong, it's my fault. If it went well, it's the team's fault. And that's how it works.
Oh, fantastic. And I think you've kind of helped to frame a little bit there of what we're going to be discussing today. So I spoke to the content creators, and we looked at the community, and some of the questions that we had were very, very micro level of when are you going to buff hobgoblins? That's not really the kind of question we'll be looking at here today. We'll throw those questions to designers when we have them on.
Totally.
But this is going to be a bit more of the middle and bigger picture.
Yeah, I would say that while I'm quite familiar with Total War, I'm not by any means the same level of expertise as our players are, who are far more informed than even many of us. So like really deep detail or lore related things that's more suited for other people, but I will try to answer everything that I can as transparently as I can, and almost certainly I'll screw this up somehow.
I think that's what we do, right? We're learning here. We try and be honest, and we try and be transparent, and If things go slightly wrong, that just shows we are doing it live. So I'm going to ask you just a couple of quick fire questions. These are usually questions that when I do a Couch Commanders or a 25 Live, I'm asking them to the person next to me, but just so people can know a little bit more about you. So have you ever been on a stream before?
Yes, the last time I was on a stream was on my last project in Moscow for a game show that's quite similar to Gamescom. And it was all in Russian. I don't speak Russian. They asked me questions in English, and they translated everything from Russian. So that was the last time I have done anything like this. That's it, Igramir. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
I very nearly went there.
It's lovely. And what's really great about going to these places is that gamers are just gamers. Like, people who like video games, they all kind of are the same. And so, yeah, it was a super cool experience.
Well, speaking of then, my next rapid fire is, what is your favorite Total War title?
So this is a loaded question that I'm sure everybody wants a very detailed answer. Look, the game that I have the most hours in is Warhammer 3. It's an awesome game. I've spent many hours playing it, and I just kind of play everywhere. Honestly, I'm a terrible Total War player.
Well, you haven't seen some of the streams I've put out.
If people want to see me stumble around and be bad, I'm happy to do that. But I am very bad.
It's I actually saw there was a comment on one of our last streams, which was, I love watching Josh play because he just recruits things at random. I don't. I'd like to think that I have a strategy behind what I'm doing, but then I looked at the clip and it was me saying, sometimes I just recruit things at random. So I think all of us relate to, none of us think we're the best player. But that's Total War. What is your favourite game that isn't Total War?
So my favorite game that isn't Total War. So I play a lot of games. Right now I'm playing Returnal, which is super cool. That's such a great game. Although I'm also very bad at that. I didn't beat the first boss until I was 7 hours in. So please feel to make fun of me in the chat for that. One of the games I've played the most of ever is Oxygen Not Included. I think I've clocked 3,000 hours on that. Probably 2,500 hours on Final Fantasy XIV. Probably 4,000 hours on Final Fantasy XI. But I played just about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, thousands and thousands of hours on strategy games.
Yeah.
Thousands of hours in Civ.
Civ, is that your favorite non-Total War strategy game?
For sure. Yeah, Civ 4, 5, and 6. Probably 4 being my favorite.
Oh yeah. I'm more of an Age of Mythology person. So we've spoken a little bit about your job. What is your favorite part of your job?
Oh, my favorite part of the job. This is going to sound so dumb, but honestly, genuinely, my favorite part of the job is just getting to make video games. I mean, I worked for 6 years flipping burgers at McDonald's. I worked, as a secretary in government, and the fact that I get to make video games is such a completely wild thing, and that I've been doing it for 20 years is absolutely mind-bending. They say do what you love, and it really is that. Like, I'm never not happy to be working, and that's really bad because my work-life balance is terrible. I have a really unhealthy relationship with work, but it's making games, so it's like it's hard to be sad about that.
I fully understand that, and I have a good segue here of, I also love what we do, and that's why I spent 3 hours last night getting a plugin for those transitions. And I see Adam asking about it in chat. Dom, our producer, I say to you directly, you can't turn them off, so don't try. I've hard-coded them in. I'll do it for the next stream. So that's your favourite part of the job. What would you say the biggest challenge of your role is?
Oh, the biggest challenge of my role is, so one of the things that I've really learned in the 3.5 years I've been sort of responsible for Total War is, and this is going to sound like I'm I don't know, that I'm being disingenuous, but I mean it, is the relationship that we have as developers making games and the relationship that we should have with our community. That sounds totally scripted and like I'm making that up because people are watching live, but if you ask me this privately, I swear to you, I would say this just the same. It is so fascinating where the games industry has gone, especially the relationships that game developers now have to have, and rightfully so, with our audience, and getting that balance right between doing what's right for our games and doing what's right for our players is such a fascinating problem to solve. This is why I'm so happy that you started streaming, and I was a huge advocate in the background, because this is so important for us to just connect with people who really just care about the same things that we care about. And Yeah, no, it's that has been an incredibly fascinating problem, but there's thousands of problems.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, you may not be able to prove it, but I can. You have been a massive advocate for streaming, and it's as I say at the start, you suggested that we do this stream. So fantastic to have you here, and thank you for the support for it. So we are going to start moving on to onto games soon, but I wanted to first talk about the emails.
Yes.
So in the end of year message went out in December, you put an inbox there that people could email you at. What was it that led you to opening up that email address?
For one, I'm a sucker for punishment. But honestly, I've gotten 1,000 emails probably, and they've all been lovely. I mean, they've been majoritively absolutely lovely. I mean, more than half are incredibly critical, but they're all really, really constructive. I've tried to answer as many as I can. I've forwarded many to the team in order for people to see. I just want to be more connected to the things that we do, honestly. And might get to have the email address roger@totalwar.com, which is super awesome. I mean, obviously that's not my work address, but because I have to separate those two, otherwise I won't be able to do work. But all those emails that come to me, nobody answers them but me. Yep. I'm the one that reads them. I'm the one that responds to them. It is genuinely me. If we are having a conversation, I'm the one.
Yep. So, and to that point, I can't reply to any of those emails.
That's right.
But we did get access to an anonymized version of some of the subjects of them to look through for the trends and the questions today. So I'll chat a tiny bit more about that, but the context being we have pulled out, for those of you who've joined, the questions that we see commonly asked by the community, wherever that source may be. We've taken the emails as another source into that. So this isn't just the emails. I'm not saying if you want to be on the next one of these streams, you have to email Roger.
Yeah, no.
We've taken questions from everywhere. And we'll also be taking questions live. So a couple more questions about them, and then we'll move on to Warhammer 3. So the first one is, I think one of the questions I saw quite frequently in those emails. Do you read these emails?
Yes, I read them. You know who you are. There's one particular human who sent me 6 emails that have been like 1,500 words each and loaded with images, because they have very strong feelings about Warhammer 3 and the things we should do. I can't act on unsolicited design stuff.
Yep.
But all of it is insanely fascinating, and I do read them. I read them all. I try to respond to them all. There is an automated reply that everybody gets that says something like, I'm just one tiny human. Please forgive me if it takes me a while to get to you, and I can't take any unsolicited design stuff. But yes, I read them, and they're a great joy.
So you've touched on it there a little bit. What are the things people should avoid sending then? Of things you physically or legally can't interact with?
Yeah. I can't take unsolicited design. I can't take anything that is sort of your intellectual property trying to pitch as our intellectual property.
Yep.
We are, after all, a business, and so there's all sorts of legal ramifications that come with that. And so as much as I'd like to be able to look at that and sort of, it's like old school record companies, and I go send my demo to the record company and then they sign you to the label. As much as I would love to have that interaction, it's just not the way it works.
Same thing with job applications, I imagine.
Yeah.
So the flip side of that then, what are the most useful emails that you've received or that people could send?
The most useful emails that people can send definitely is their feedback. What are the things that they're seeing? What is it that they want to see more of? Where are their pain points? What are the things that they like? Criticism is fine, but also knowing what people want or that they enjoy that we're doing or want us to keep doing is also very useful. So just about anything is fine. Direct feedback on designs that we have, or if they want to send us ideas about things that we've already talked about, that's totally cool. But just anything, I've had people who've sent me 2 sentences, and I've had people who've sent me 2,000 words. Yeah. Any of that is appreciated. And a ton of them I do forward and share with the team. So there's a lot of Warhammer 3 stuff that I've shared with Todor and with Rich, Med 3 stuff I've shared with Pab and Life. So yeah, just keep it coming.
I mean, you shared something, I think it was yesterday, right? Of an idea for how we can do more stream communication.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it. It's knowing where we missed up, but also where to keep going.
Yeah.
What's going right is also useful. Right. So how has it been reading through all of those emails? You said over 1,000 emails?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I expect I'll get more after today, which is good. I've also encouraged our Chinese audience to send, even if it's not in English. We'll figure it out. We'll sort it. Yeah, how has it been? I mean, honestly, it's been heartwarming. If I'm honest, I'm looking for ways on how I can kind of condense some of the information or print some of it out for the team to see, because I think it'll be really morale boosting for the team. Like I said, there's a ton of, even the ones that are with deep criticism. All of them, the vast majority, have been insanely respectful and hugely constructive. So I can't thank people enough for that. Yeah.
And the almost to your point there of, so we have taken trends from them and included them. We haven't taken any direct quotes because the people who sent you those emails didn't know that their question could be read out to
all sorts of there's all sorts of like GDPR stuff that we have to follow because we're a business. So
I'll ask you one more question I had, and then we're going to start moving into the ones that we've had from the community, and that is, so you've read all the emails. Are there any interesting trends that you've picked up on from those conversations?
People care about 40K, Warhammer 3. And Med 3, our back catalog. People care about everything, which is really, really good. People are insanely passionate about the things that they're passionate about, which is the same as us, which is really, that's really affirming, when we know that we're going the right direction, because people are just as excited about certain things as we are. There recently, it has been sort of commentary on they wish we would speak more and talk more. And I've pushed back and asked, well, we do these streams and we do a lot of blogs. Where are we missing you? And it seems like we need to find different ways in order to allow people to maybe opt into email lists or something that allows people to more passively get the information rather than having to go to Reddit or Steam or Discord or our own channels. So we're going to explore that space to try to figure out how to get people the information that they want.
I've finally downloaded Premiere Pro to try and see if we could do little snips of the streams of the pertinent information. I know it's a lot for people to sit down and watch an hour, so I completely agree. It's there's a lot we say. It's just making sure it gets to people, right?
I mean, that's it. I mean, we're trying really, really hard to be as open and transparent as we can, and to some degree, I accept that maybe we'll never be able to do quite enough. But we're always going to try our hardest to do those things. But it would be really useful to hear from people where you get your information and where you would want to get the information, so that we can then figure out how to, because we want to come to you. Let's figure out how to get to you. You don't have to come to us.
Where are you already looking?
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So we do have one comment that's come through, and that is Awesome Lionsaurus, I believe, on Twitch. So please feed to them that they're doing great work and the Total War Warhammer series is greatly appreciated. Looking forward to Tiger Boys and Tiger Girls. So I guess a thanks to the devs who are working on this.
Yeah, they're doing great work, and it's something that we're really excited about. I can't tell you about the matched animations with the tiger stuff, but it's really cool.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot this week.
Yeah.
So that kind of brings us to the end of our holistic Welcome Roger section. So I'm just going to do a recap for anyone who's joined in what we're doing here. So from here on, we're going to be working through the Total War projects, all the ones announced, all the stuff that we've spoken about, one by one, taking some of the questions that you guys have submitted, either through the inbox or through Reddit, Discord, the forums. Looking at the forums a few days ago, got quite a few from there as well. We found the trends of them.
Yeah.
We know that we're not going to answer absolutely everything everyone wants to know. We do have live Q&A, so we'll try and get some of those through. But we're going to start off with Warhammer 3. I'm going to check my notes as to where we go after that. We then move to Medieval 3, then Warhammer 40,000, and then we'll talk about some of the older title stuff that we discussed in the emails.
And if I say anything I'm not supposed to, I expect our lovely devs, to run in and tackle me.
I mean, these are boom mics now, so they can come in and shout, and it'll all be picked up. Fantastic. So we're going to start with Warhammer 3. Warhammer 3 is probably the chunkiest section. We got the most that we can really talk about there. So I've split this into subcategories. The first being the character pack. So we'll talk about that first. obviously, for those of you who haven't seen, we announced a character pack, a completely new format for us. I was meant to stick on this document exactly what the breakdown is of units and heroes and all of that, but people can find out themselves. We're not here to tell them about what to buy. My question for you then, and it's one that we saw people, I think, speculating at their own answers on, which is, why are we trying this new DLC format?
Yeah, so, we know that there's a lot of stuff within the Warhammer Fantasy that people still want, and there's some things that may not have enough depth within them in order to form full factions. So that's one reason. Another reason is it's really important to me that we give players choice and try to get content and things to people as quickly as possible. I think this last year we really struggled with that. We wanted to release our last DLC in the summer. We didn't get to release it until the winter. So this was an opportunity for us to try to release something that's a little bit smaller but meaningful in a time frame that hopefully people would appreciate. Like all things that we've been doing, this is somewhat of an experiment. So if people like it, let us know. If they don't like it, let us know. We do this for you all, ultimately, and so it needs to feel like it's worth it. And we also wanted to make sure that we could do something that we would, the value of it, the cost of it, and the value of it would be commensurate with what we put into it. So this is not a sort of nickel and dime moment. This is, how can we bring value to our players who really want more stuff. That
makes sense. And about that value and about the content of it, then, this is a question I think we got from, we saw people talking about it in, I think it was Lawmaster of Sotek's stream, which was, will these packs all have this exact number of units, heroes, lords, spells?
No, I wouldn't count on a pattern. What I would count on is that what we're trying to always make sure is that the things that we put in these character packs, provided that we keep doing them and that players, fans like it, is that they have value. That it's something that people want. So I think that's a great question. I don't want to box it into it and must be this shape. What I want it to be is it worthwhile?
I think we saw people planning out what like a Bretonia pack of that would look like, trying to fit things into the format, right? I say we saw that as in the community. Community. So I think letting people feel a bit more free and open with what content feels valuable and important, rather than as maybe we've seen before of like, what can we fit inside the structure? It's blow up the structure and what makes sense as value there.
Totally.
Speaking of the DLCs then, can you talk me through the evolution of Warhammer DLC? So from the 2 Lord packs to the 3 Lord packs, splitting those up.
So if we go back into the olden days of Shadows of Change, that was a time period. Those were the dark days for us, where we really stumbled on getting the content of that stuff right with the value of the thing. And we learned a whole lot from that. The team took it very hard. I took it very hard. And one of the things that I walked away from that in my mind was, how can we make sure to offer sort of consumer choice to people? How can we make sure that people feel like when they spend their money that we really, really respect it, for one, and for two, that it's something that they actually want. So while going from 2 to 3 was sort of just a natural evolution of the kinds of things that we're sort of building at the time, it was really more so about how could we separate them out so people could choose, what's the thing that they cared about, and then they could invest in that. And that seems to be working. People seem to like that, and so it's a pattern that for now we'll continue to do as long as people think it's a good idea.
Fantastic. And we have a question from chat, which is similar to the question I was going to ask next, but maybe a little bit nicer asked. So they have asked, it is Commander Bon on YouTube. Have you, and I'll ask the question, but then I'm going to position to you actually as the different version of it. They asked, have you ever considered really old characters for Warhammer 3 and future DLCs? Like, I'll have to pronounce names live. Senna's Met for Tomb Kings, or Gorfang for the Greenskins. But the question I put to you more is, how do the team go about choosing lords and content that go in?
So this is interesting. So the short answer is yes, we consider those things. The long answer is that it is is a combination of things. It's what do people want to see? What is something that we can design something fun around? And then what is working with our partner Games Workshop? What's that like? Like, what are their ideas? What are we going to get, access to in order to create stuff? When you work with a partner like Games Workshop, who've been incredibly lovely for the last 10 years, with us, everything we do has to go through that lens, which is fine. They need to protect their IP, and it's an IP that we really, really care about. So there's a ton of nuance in that. Like, we look for what's fun, we look what people want, and then we ask our partner, can we do it?
Yeah, and I think that I always think back to when I had a call with Games Workshop about the Toddy video we made for Silence and Fury campaign. The enthusiasm they had for that, along with us, of this is so fun. Let's absolutely do this. Anyone who hasn't seen that video should go and watch that. That's one of my favourite things I've ever got to facilitate. So talking back about this character pack then, how was the content picked for the first character pack?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so it really was looking at what could be interesting and sort of left field from the things that we have normally done. I think, tiger people, tiger men, tiger ladies. I mean, that's just kind of awesome in and of itself. There was a lot of discussions that we had with Games Workshop in order to make sure that we could get the right stuff. But, it's one of those ideas that when you do it, it's like, well, yeah, duh, we should do that. And I think that's kind of where this falls into. Yeah,
and I know we've explored Bashiva for a long time in that way. We didn't quite have the right packs to fit the content, because we piece together loads of different packs. There's 50 plans for packs that never get made because at the end of it we just go, it's just not the right fit. I think the most recent example we communicated out was Neferata, right? So right. They were going to be the first 3LC. We've been hinting at that, and then when push comes to shove, we go, actually, this makes more. Sorry, they're going to be a character pack, and then push comes to shove, we go, no, this makes more sense as a 3LC content. So like that, I guess Bashiva had a few different pack types, but this feels like the right fit.
Yeah, and we want to make sure that we want to make sure that we can create the correct thing that's fun and has the right value. As you said, Neferata was conceptually the first character pack that we were going to do, and as we started, looking into our future content, there's like, does this actually fit thematically with this? Should we not have it over here in order to make sure that it feels in its correct place? And the Tiger Men were something that we wanted to always do. It's something that we'd been talking about for multiple years, and so this just seemed like the right fit to do it now. But as you said, we've gone through dozens and dozens of like various plannings on what should be and what should we release.
Some of them get recycled years later. Some of them. I can see there's a question being typed, perhaps from our community, but so I'm going to just see if I can hold on character packs for a second in case it's related to it. But the next section we'll be talking about will be updates. Here we go. So this is actually something we'll be talking about later. So Saint Sir Nicholas on Twitch has said, will Nagash in the End Times World Disasters be optional or just part of the game when the DLC comes out? That is stuff we'll talk about, not later on this stream, but later when it comes to it. So it's the kind of stuff being developed and thought about at the moment, right?
Some of that stuff is a moving target.
Like the packs, right? We have an intent of it, and as we play it, we refine it.
That's right.
So yes, that is a great question. We will answer it, but not in here while we're still considering that. So let's talk about updates. This is maybe the most granular I'm willing to get with you. So we did a Proving Grounds. I think we did 2 Proving Grounds last year. Right. Was testing content that way successful for us?
100%, completely. I think if people who've been following along this sort of CA journey over the last 2.5, 3 years, I hope you've seen the evolution of us going through a process of, how do we deliver, things that people consider valuable? How do we make sure that we're fixing all of the right bugs and so on and so forth? Effectively, how can we make sure what's really important to me is that we're valuing people's time and money, because, people really work hard for their money, and they deserve to make sure that we're treating their time as just as valuable. So Proving Grounds is not a new concept, neither in games or for Total War, but it was important for me that we push things out in somewhat more beta-like state, so we can get feedback early rather than release something that we call final, and then people say, "Oh, that's not final. I don't like this. I don't like that." And it has been hugely successful for me because we get to have that conversation with our audience, and that's one of the things I think about modern game development that I really love. Modern game development is about having that sort of back and forth with fans, and we are building our games together.
Yeah.
And so Proving Grounds is about us developing together. It's not about us getting free quality assurance. It's not about us it's about how can we make sure that we all agree that the thing that we're putting together is something that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've spoken about then, and we both I think mentioned the Siege beta.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put you on the spot to say when's it coming out. I know that there's still discussions on that internally, and then there's a few different dates. Instead, I'm going to ask you then, what's holding it up? If we Proving Grounds it and it was successful, why is it not out there yet?
Well, we have a lot going on. We have a lot going on, and as we've shown in this last update in December with Total War 40,000, with Med 3, with the End Times, with the character packs, it's all an issue of prioritization, and it's just figuring out what's the right order to do stuff. It's certainly something that we're really passionate about, and it'll happen. But as game development is nuanced and complicated, and we trust the team to make the right choices so that we end up with the right outcomes.
Yep.
But we'll get there.
Yeah, and from what I've seen as well from those discussions, it's a fundamental change, so it is disruptive.
Yeah.
I know there's discussion if it goes live or if there's a second beta, right? So we get another sanity check. Because I think what we saw is people liked it, but there are also people who go, I like how the game is. So it's making sure that we're developing for everyone there.
Strategy game AI is such an incredibly advanced, sneaky beast.
Yep.
Like the amount of insanely smart PhD level people that we have working on AI for all of our Total War games is incredible, and these are really hard problems to solve.
So for context for those watching, I have a monitor where I've got my the questions from chat that get filtered through. I've got just making sure we're live. I've got my notes. Roger has nothing.
I don't know what I'm doing.
He doesn't know what we're going to ask, what we're going to do. He has almost perfectly managed to get to what the next question's going to be. So AI.
Oh, we're talking about AI.
We are. AI passivity. Is that still on our radar?
Yes, of course it is. Oh, AI is such an important part of playing Total War games. I mean, it's how you interact with the world and how the world interacts with you. The AI is about how do we make the player feel smart and make your decisions feel valuable. AI is such an important, critical part, if not like one of the most critical parts of the things that we do. Yes, these are incredibly important concepts that we're still working on, and as I said, they're such complicated problems.
And we'll hopefully now be streaming again every week. So I know Steve's been doing, King Gobbo, has been doing a great job of trying to keep the community updated on what's changing, what's coming up there. Because I know there's been some really promising stuff being developed with AI and testing, but it's like Siege. It's such a fundamental part of the game.
We should bring some of our AI engineers in here to talk about the work they do and really just talk about the science of it, because it is absolutely fascinating.
I think that's one of the things we'd love to do with. We got, as you can see, new stream formats. We're not streaming off of a webcam anymore. That used to be a webcam. Now we've got cameras. But AI, I'd love to bring audio as well, and have the way Total War audio is layered is fascinating. So having more people to be able to talk about that would be fantastic. Right. What is the focus then this year for Warhammer 3?
Focus for Warhammer 3? Well, for one, delivering End Times and our first character pack both on time and good.
Yep.
That is the focus. Of course, we're fixing bugs and doing other patches as we've always done. We may or may not do another Proving Grounds. We may or may not do another beta of whatever variety. All of those things are kind of on the table, but our team is working so very hard trying to make sure that we land something that's really, really special. And I watch them and talk to them, and they're making really hard decisions. They're making really fun decisions.
Yep.
But that's where all their time and energy is being spent.
Brilliant. And speaking of, either of the questions are very nicely ordered or you're perfectly sailing through, but we're going to talk about End Times a little bit. So how's End Times development going?
It's going really well. I mean, look, there's challenges, right? I mean, so we're making a bunch of content, and some of the content we make we think is going to be really fun, and then we make it, and we're like, that's not fun at all, and we have to make adjustments and do also, like, we'll do veteran testing as an example in order to get insight from our audience, from our fans. So, but as a game development thing, I think it's going really, really well. I think the team is probably really stressed.
Yeah.
Because it's really important, and they really, really want to land this in a special way. And I'm committed, as the rest of the team is, to release it when it's good.
Yeah.
I
think there's a couple of Lords in even a playable state now, so
Yeah.
that they're starting that iteration process, which is so fascinating to always see. As I just trust that what we release is going to be good at the end of the day. So I love seeing that loop of watching them kind of really spiral down that content. This is a question I get so much on stream, especially during Tides of Torment. We edit loads. It's a question that I was told you feel quite passionately about, so we'll see if that's the case. But could you clarify the working relationship between Sophia and Horsham on Warhammer DLCs?
We are one team. There is no difference whether that you work in Sophia, you work in Horsham. We're all making Total War. We speak with a singular voice. There's no A team. There's no B team. We are firmly one team who have a multitude of interests and are all equally talented. I can't say that enough. That we say Sophia at all is really just to talk about the location. It's not to talk about them as being somewhere else. Our teams are all deeply integrated.
Yep.
And there are people from Horsham working over there. I think if there was any benefit to COVID, it is the fact that we as an industry learned how to work in a more remote sort of stature. And so our team's ability to work sort of across time zones in this way is perfectly natural for us. So we are one team.
I completely agree. And what we've now done as well with Sophia on our side is we've sent them a bunch of streaming equipment. So hopefully we'll be able to have them on more as well, and show like the barriers. I think sometimes that people assume are there. They're not. We talk all the time. We're in shared meetings all the time.
Yep.
And hopefully they'll have webcams at 1080p with us as well.
We go there. We've got Sophians that are in the office now that come visit us.
I mean, I was sat on that couch 2 weeks ago talking to Todor and Milcher about our plans for streaming the End Time stuff. So the last question I have specifically on the End Time section, and then we are moving to Medieval 3. So if there's any Warhammer 3 questions that haven't been filtered through, now is a good time as we're approaching the end of the section, and I'll ask the last question. That is, when are we going to see more of the End Times?
Soon. TM. One of the things that I'm really passionate about, as you know, Josh, is how can we show more of our work and get it out there so that people can see the things that we're working on. I really love people's feedback. I really love their, how they view it and to get their opinions up front. When it comes to things like End Times, that does come with a few caveats because, again, we have a partner that we need to work with in order to make sure that's all, that everybody agrees on the sorts of stuff that we share. But, I'm eager for us to be as open and transparent about the things that we're working on as possible. So soon. Fantastic.
Mr. Producer, could you scroll down on my chat, please? You're going to have to go left and then down. No, down. And then you'll be on my screen. And then if you could scroll down on the chat. I can't get to the questions.
You're okay to move on.
There's a question. I can see it. I can't get to it.
So you got to click the new messages.
You've got to click new messages. You're on my monitor. Yeah. Go left.
Left, go left.
Left. No, that's right.
Your other
left.
I haven't got room to go left.
Scroll down. Go down. And now just scroll. Just scroll. There you go. It
TV.
says you're okay to move on. Okay.
That's what I said to you.
It's live TV.
Yeah, it is.
So good.
It is. Right, then we are going to talk about Medieval 3. If there are any other questions that get caught, we'll come back at the end.
Yep.
So, Medieval 3. We've announced it.
Yeah, we did.
And then we did a stream. We showed off of the intent of what we're doing. But my question to you is, and I think it was a question the community had a lot at the time.
Yeah.
Why did we announce at that stage of development?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I want to say how proud I am of all the teams, but the Med 3 team particularly have really come through. And I think some of the streams that we've had are things that I believe CA has never done before in terms of the things that we're showing. I know that people felt like, oh, we're just showing vaporware, but we showed, we all talked internally like, no, we got to show stuff that's in progress. We got to show the work that we're doing. The reason to show Med 3 is because it is one of the most important games that CA is shipping.
Yep.
And my massive concern about Med 3 is making sure that we can hit player expectations. So, after conversations with people internally, we decided and agreed that let's just go out there and talk about it. Let's get people involved. We have a really strong vision. We have an incredibly talented team. This is people who have wanted to work on Med 3 for a decade or more.
Yeah.
People who are highly educated in medieval history and so on. Like, this is an incredibly technical, hardcore team, frankly. So I couldn't be more excited for the work that they're doing. But none of that matters if we don't hit player expectations, if we don't hit the expectations that people have.
Yes. And it's taking them on that journey. Right? It's
Totally.
Producer, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
It's taking them on the journey, and it's being transparent. It's giving people a voice. But you're right, we have a vision, and it's showing them the vision, right?
Yeah.
I saw there was some, I think it was on the forum, some discussion of, is this 1,000 cooks? It isn't. It's I'm going to try and make up an analogy on the spot. It's a head chef, right? And it's, here's what we're making. Come along with us.
I got this question asked of me from Sega. Sega, who's our parent company, whom I love. Please keep me employed. They asked, when we were talking about doing this Games Together stuff, how would it not be 1,000 chefs? And my answer to that is, well, you have to employ creative people who have at least enough ego to know that they're right.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really true. Like, we're building this game with the community, of course, but we have to make an awesome game at the end of the day. And if we make a game that is entirely crowdsourced, it will be a terrible game, I promise you. It will be a very, very bad time. So we have really smart people who have enough ego to know when they're right.
Yep. Yeah, it was, I'll tell you, it was very funny when we did Couch Commanders to do, for the 25 years, we had devs on streaming. Me and Pav streaming Med 2 was, I think, the most nervous I've ever been for a stream, where obviously he's working on Med 3, I know Med 3, and every time we said Med 2, there was a twitch in both of our eyes of like, we said the right number, we're okay.
That's okay, I still say the code name, now that I don't have to.
Do you know what, we've actually fantastically managed to not say, on the first Med 3 stream, I was like, we're going to end up saying it, we didn't, so which is
okay.
Second question for Med.
Guess the code name in the chat.
There will be a prize for whoever gets it right. How's best for people to get involved with development then? We want to take them on the journey. How do they get involved?
Well, one, you check our website because we do have open roles. that is the ultimate way in order to get involved. If you want to help us make Med 3, absolutely. Secondly, is you can join our forums. Our forums is where we take the most feedback with regards to Med 3.
Yep.
And it's where we have all of our conversations. We've intentionally used our forums as the epicenter of that, so we are not doing a whole lot of chatter about Med 3 on Reddit or other places, and if we do, we're probably pointing you back to our forums. So this is a game in pre-production. I said earlier that we want to come to you with all of our communication. I still mean that, but for this particular thing, you got to come to us. So if you want to get involved in Med 3, we would love to have you come join our forums.
Yeah, we saw such a, and it's all public, so you can see it. But we saw such a great outpouring in the last Med 3 stream. We had questions up on the screen. People came in, they gave their answers.
Yeah.
It was like 150 responses per question, right? People really care about this, and we love that. So I think that is something we'll be duplicating, which we'll talk about in a second. We did have a question from chat. So the question itself was from Toasty Burn Plans, which is if you're carrying over features from older titles, how do you decide? which I'd position to you as, what's it like to make a new Total War game like Med 3 when you're looking back at the history of features and titles that we've made?
So this is interesting because this is sort of, I'm going to try not to get really jargon heavy. A lot of our old code is lost on like individual people's hard drives that are now destroyed, right? Back in the day, old CA was not necessarily a very big or organized company. I think we still have some code, but a lot of that stuff has just evolved and changed over time.
Yeah.
And so now we're in a new engine that we've talked about recently called Total War Next. When we look at old features, the conversation first is, does the feature already exist? Maybe it doesn't, and if it doesn't, what's it going to take to rebuild it?
Yeah.
I think, when the Med 3 team are looking at features from Med 3, they're looking at all they're looking at what people are really talking about, and what are the classics that they need to bring. What are the assumptions that people have about the features that just need to be there?
Yeah.
Like the re-release of Elder Scrolls. Like, I didn't realize there wasn't a sprint.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea there wasn't a sprint. I just thought I remembered there always being a sprint.
Yeah.
What are those features for Med that people just assume need to be there?
Yeah.
That's the other consideration that we have to parse.
I have a follow-up question that isn't from chat. It's just from me.
Yeah, go for it.
Which is, what does it take to make the decision to build a new engine?
Oh yeah. So, all right. So, making a game is a gargantuan effort. The way that we've sort of made games before is that we'd make a game and we would say, oh, this game is going to be based on this game. We're going to take this engine and we're going to modify it in order to make this other game. And what happens is we get all of these dead ends where people are like, well, you have weather stuff here, but you don't have weather stuff here. That doesn't make sense. I think if you play, I'm making a big assumption here, if you play any of the Dark Souls games, Elden Ring and so on, to me, they're clearly and have been living in the same engine for like the entire time. And so what we've done most recently is we have, and by recent I mean the last 3 to 4 years, we have come together to say this is what a Total War engine is, and all of our games here forward will always inherit from that engine. And the benefit of that is that we should see that all of our games will be able to inherit all of the features from all of the games from this engine going forward. It doesn't mean that we need to go back in time and figure out features that we need to bring forward.
Yeah.
But our engine is going to be so much better for the future. And that way we don't have to miss those really critical features that people are like, why is it in that game and not in that game?
I get you. So, the one off the top of my head, something like co-op campaigns in Warhammer 3 that aren't then in Pharaoh, right?
That's right.
So, and I speak with no experience, but it sounds like then the difference is, instead of an engine being kind of bespokely kind of branched for a game, it's that those things become toggles.
Well,
right?
so that's an interesting point, because the dev team, I'm sorry, Georgi and
I think they're
whoever
watching
else.
downstairs.
Yeah, sorry. But I believe Warhammer 3 was obviously inherited Warhammer 2, and Pharaoh inherited Warhammer 2, and they both have very different feature sets, because they went and they developed these things, but never the two shall meet. So that's what we're fixing.
Cool. There was another follow-up question here, which was, what are some of the new systems you're thinking about are going to include in Med 3, which isn't a question for you, because it's more of a, we're going to be showing that, and we're going to be talking about that. So where can that person, Defective 4545, where will they be able to find that information?
Yeah, you should. So we're going to be streaming. The team is incredibly excited to be streaming and talking about the things that they're working on, and our forums, which is where to go. So yeah, stay tuned, because we are going to talk about it.
Yep. So, another question as well. I'll try and send an email asking about the soundtrack. So if it will be Jeff Van Dyke for Medieval 3, and just praise for the music in Medieval 2.
Ooh, that's a good question. I should know the answer to that.
That's maybe
I think
next time.
Yeah. I would. I don't want to misquote, but I will say this: Jeff is a friend of the studio. He's somebody that we really want to work with, and so if you're watching, we're not already talking, please reach out.
Then my last question for the Medieval 3 section. And I'm going to answer it because I've been asked by the team to say some specific bits on it. The question was going to be, when will we see more? the answer to that is next Thursday. So
there you go.
This is Community Inbox Rally Point. Next Thursday we'll be doing Rally Point, and I'm not going to say the title of it because there's a blog going out next week where they want to kind of announce what we're doing.
All right.
I will say it is. If you're thinking, it'll just be another iteration from what we saw last time. No, it's going to be something completely different to show you, to get your feedback on.
Yeah.
I have it written there, but they've asked me not to say it because they want to explore it in the blog and be able
right.
to announce it there. But it's super exciting.
Okay.
Really excited to be able to show that off next week.
I don't know it, so I can't.
Oh, that's good.
I can't screw this up and accidentally say it.
But yes, I saw a build earlier today of some of the stuff they want to show off, and the hope is as well. So last time it was really just what can we do with what we have, but now we've redone the room and we've got a bit more equipment. What's really cool is for these streams, the question is now what do we want to do?
Yeah.
So last time, if you tuned in, we just had the build up, and it was me trying desperately to remember to just pan around every now and then. Next time you'll come in and it should be Life, I think, sat there playing.
Yeah.
So he can play there. Me and Pav will be able to see it, but he will be able to bring up like video files if he wants to of stuff that he's recorded beforehand, art and all of that. So hopefully we'll also be able to step up the format of that and show more of what we want rather than just what we can.
Yeah, we're investing a ton of money in the streaming project. This is a massive endeavor for us that we really, really believe in. So, thank you.
As I say, you got 3 camera angles.
I mean, there you go.
It was literally a webcam mounted on a tripod last time.
Borrow one of these to take a picture of my miniatures for Instagram. But we're investing in this because we really care about it. We think this is a really important way to reach out and talk to our audience. So and thank you for spearheading it. Honestly.
It's not just me, right? There's all the people feeding behind the scenes. We've got Dom sat there. Me and Dom, honestly, for the last 2 months, the cables we've had to wrest out of this room and shove back in, and then realise the number of HDMI cables that didn't work. It took us maybe an hour to work out that cable didn't work. So that is our Medieval 3 section. If there's any other questions about it, we can maybe come back to those at the end. I'm conscious of time. I don't want to take you too long. The next section then is Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah.
How's development going?
Wonderful. So I'm a massive 40K fan, and that was that was one of the big impetuses I had for coming to work at CA, because they told me that this was the thing that we were working on.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I am sat deep in the trenches with the team, and we are working shoulder to shoulder, busting butt in order to get this out here. In fact, I'm not cutting my hair or shaving my beard until we ship. So when the next time we do one of these, which I think we're going to do in a few months, I should look even more disheveled, both from stress and from just life happening. But honestly, I couldn't be more excited. It's going really well.
I think there was a more of like a studio-wide playtest as well.
Which
was really fun. I managed to jump in, played some battles. I think the thing that I found, like the wow thing for me, that I went and spoke to a designer about today was they've called it ambient units. I just called it like, this is real, of going into a battle, and there was already like a little skirmish going on when I pressed start battle of like, orcs and fighting, and the correct thing for me to do would have been to sit back and have my lines, but I rushed to go save my little allies,
of course.
and I lost so many more units than I needed to. But it's that kind of thing that they're exploring at the moment, which may or may not make it. But exploring, making that world living is really cool.
It's an incredible. It's already an incredible IP and an incredible game, and I'm having so much fun as the team is. But we're really working hard.
And we have so many people here who absolutely love the IP. It's so funny having a floor where there's people who are reading like the most hardcore history book, and then sat opposite them is someone like holding up a model, and it's like you are the exact same love of your 2 different flavors, right? Do we have space battles?
Do we have space battles? Well, I'd say that it is very lore appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have space battles? Let me say this. Space battles is something that I want, something that the teams want. Is it going to be there for launch? Maybe not. I think we've got a lot of new stuff that we're working on that we're trying to get there, to get in the game. maybe it makes it, maybe it doesn't. It will definitely be there eventually.
Yeah.
When is a big question, but I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that people want.
Yeah.
Because 40, I've read like 40 books, and that's not even scratching the surface.
That's half of the Horus.
I mean, it's right. So it's just trying to get everything that's lore centric is going to be really tough. But what we are excited to do is to show our work and talk about it. This summer we're gonna we are planning on doing a very public dive into some of our campaign work.
Yep.
And I definitely want us to find a moment in the relative future on how we can show more of our battles, maybe even stream them.
Yeah.
So expect more information for sure.
Yeah.
I know people really want space battles. I do too.
But I think we see a lot of that debate back and forth across our community of how are they going to make the game feel Total War, and those foundational elements are the most important bit to get right first, right?
That's
so
right.
real-time space battles will be fantastic, but they're only fantastic in addition to an already incredible Total War experience.
Well, this is kind of I'm glad you said that, because this is sort of the center of the argument about a lot of these things. If the foundation, if the structure of our game isn't really fun all by itself, then the additions are almost irrelevant.
Yeah.
So, we have really fun stuff that are in the game now. We have stuff in the game that aren't fun at all.
Yeah.
We're working through that. That's game development. That's how it goes. And at the moment, space battles is not the focus. The focus is making sure that we're going to get something that's awesome.
And I know that even if and I'd say most likely there aren't real-time space battles there is still a look at how to represent ship warfare itself. If it's not a real-time.
I mean, the game feels like you're in space.
Yep.
So there's no doubt about that. The game feels like you are roaming the galaxy and coming out of the warp and doing all the fun stuff that is both awesome and horrifying in the 40K universe.
You've so we only have one question left on it. The spin on it, I guess, is it was going to be when will we see more? So maybe a recap of what you said there.
So I'm working with you and with others to get us streaming some of our battles as soon as we reasonably can. I'd love to do it tomorrow, but the world doesn't work that way. I've got my
transitions ready.
Yeah, I've got tons of stakeholders that I need to work through, but we're really excited to talk about that. I know that people are going to really want to see campaign. We are talking about showing campaign very early summer, I think, an event, and then as soon as we release it from there, we'll probably start talking and streaming more of that stuff as we go. So there's some marketing things that we have to do because we're still a business and we need to do those things, but I am itching to show as much stuff as we can, and I have very smart people around me who are wrestling me to the ground to not do all the things that I want to do. So I promise that we'll keep having those internal fights to get the information out there.
Fantastic. We do have a question from chat, which is I'm going to just use it to segue into our next session. Because they're saying it's Trebor797. It's in your thank you message at the end of 2025. It sounded like the old titles will get some love and even updates again. Is this true, and is there something specific planned?
Yeah.
So I'm going to use that just to segue into our older titles and say that will be asked. The first question I do have for this section is, will the new mod manager be extended to games other than Warhammer 3?
That's the plan. The plan is to get it everywhere, so that there's unity all over the place. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some of our older games where that's not possible, again, because of sort of the code problems that I talked about earlier. But I think for all the titles that people really care about, we should be able to make that happen.
Fantastic. Then for Trebor's question, are we going back to our older titles, and what inspired that decision? Yeah,
100%. So, interesting fact about the people who play our games, about as many people play in a month Warhammer 3 as play our entire back catalog. There are more people playing Med 2 now than at launch. Mm-hmm. I know the Attila mod with Lord of the Rings is super popular, and we see that. We see it. We're looking at it. We have our own chats about that internally. So it's crazy to me as a human being that we don't take a look at our back catalog and figure out how to make sure that it's fit for future purpose. Yeah. How do we make sure that it's a game. Our games, can survive the future and future hardware and those sorts of things. On top of that, because we have such a dedicated base of people who are in those games, how do we fix just some of the simple bugs that people really want fixed that that we're not? And again, I come back to the fact that we are a business, and so these are things that we have to sort out, like how do we pay for it, and how do we do this? And that's what we're trying to figure out, is how do we pay for it? Because it is something that, for me, is really, really important that we do, because people love those games. So we are looking at games now. We do have an internal sort of strategy that we're working on about the games that we want to sort of address at first, and we have stages in which we're going to start addressing more and more stuff. Games that we are talking about, I'm not making any promises, just games that we're talking about are games like Rome 2 or Shogun 2. But again, those are just talking.
Yeah.
It's just talking.
And it kind of goes back to what you said earlier as well about it's not just the desire, it's getting the tools from back then working and getting that all implemented.
Well, I mean, when I think about when I think about Total War 40K, when I think about Med 3, and when I think about our back catalog, I mean, if I'm asked where do I put this human to work on what, well, that's a tough choice. I have to decide where do I place that person. So we're looking for ways in order to make it work and make it happen, because it is something that we care so deeply about. But it's going to take time.
Yep.
And I think I said in my thank you message that we're shooting for it, but it's a stretch goal.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping we get there. We have all the best intent. The spirit is definitely willing.
Yep.
But please be patient. It's a journey.
You have answered, in that fantastic answer, nearly every single question I had on this topic. The one I will point back to, just to maybe be more explicit with then, is, so what is the intent when we look back?
Yeah.
Is it fixes? Is it content? Is it, something new, or
So
borrowed or blue?
Yes. All of the above. Like, I think fixes are definitely at a priority in the stack of things that we need to do. We know that there are performance issues in games like Attila and Rome and so on and so forth that people would love us to fix. We know that there's some issues in 3K that people would like for us to fix as well, and we would like to fix them. That is something that we want to actively do. We also know that there's probably some really low-hanging fruit that we could, add some more content that makes our games just a little more interesting or refreshes it just a little bit. So it is a little bit of all of that stuff, but I can't spoil it, because it really is all of this planning is incredibly wet paint.
A lot of dependencies.
There's so many dependencies. There's lots of internal conversations, with our partners at Sega, with my boss, and so on and so forth. So it's not as easy as just go do it.
Yeah.
I want to do it. We're going to figure out how to make it happen.
I have a question for you then, just as we, I think, start to approach our wrap up. From Bart Kid, maybe? What do you think about keeping games alive longer, creating great foundations and releasing content for 10 years with new factions and content?
So I am personally in love with that. I think that one of the joys about making video games today, for me as a game creator, is that relationship that we can get with our players, in which we make content and we have sort of this back and forth about what it can be. It feels like a more collaborative sort of, grassroots sort of thing, which makes me, as a game creator, brings me a great deal of joy. So I'm all for it. I know that there are people who, there's lots of questions to answer, right? Like, there are people who look at it and say, oh, well, does that mean I have to spend like £1,000 in order to get value out of being able to play Warhammer 3 as an example, because we offer so much stuff? We have to find that balance where anybody can join at any time and it still be fun without having necessarily the overwhelming option of choice. But I do think there's a lot of people who want that choice, and I certainly do. I like variety. And so I think, that's something that we're going to keep fighting for.
Yeah.
I'd say that not every game is that.
Yeah.
Not every game is or should be that, and we need to be smart about which games are. I would say that Warhammer 40,000 is a 30-year franchise with thousands of books, of which I can't stop reading. Yep. So probably that game is. But some games probably not.
Then I'm going to throw to a couple of questions from chat. It may just be the one, and then we will we'll start to wrap this up. The question I can see, I'm not gonna don't answer because I'm not gonna. I know you can't answer.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give you the positioning of how I'll ask it.
Okay.
The question was, if you are transparent, will you talk about cancelled Total War projects? Now I won't make you answer that, but instead it is a when you write your autobiography and you're telling all your stories about your time here. Obviously, not all games make it. Not all ideas make it.
That's right.
How much more do you appreciate than the ones that do?
Look, I mean, games are a labor of love, but not every game can exist for lots of different reasons. I've probably worked in my career of 20 years on as many canceled games, if not more, than games that have made it. And majority of the time that they were canceled, that was the right thing to do, either because the ideas weren't good enough, there wasn't enough interest in it, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's always really hard for game creators and artists in general to murder their darlings. You know, no one likes to do that. And I've had to be on the receiving end of a canceled game, and I've also had to tell people the game is canceled. Neither of those situations are fun or good. But I will say that each of those experiences were a learning one, and games that I've made after that have always been better. And I do think, you know, all of our devs may not agree with that, but I do think you always take away something from your old work and you bring it into your new work, and it makes the next thing just that much more special.
Fantastic. Then I do see there may be questions in the pipeline, but we'll start to wrap up and we'll see if they appear before we get to the end. When's the next of these streams going to be, do you think?
So look, first, send me emails, write me, tell me what you want to know, tell me what you want to see, tell me what you want to talk about. I'll try to talk about all of it. I'll have a conversation as I am right now with many of you. I think it's been a huge joy to be able to do that. Let me get 1,000 more emails, and we'll come back to this in a few months and do it again. If people like this format and thought it was okay, I'm doing this because I'm trying to, one, you work so hard. You don't have to be the bullet sponge for all the stuff. If people want to know who is ultimately accountable and responsible for the things that we do, I'm the one. So if you got to be mad at somebody, I guess you got to be mad at me. But if you got to be happy with people, be happy with the team, because they're the ones that are doing all the hard work.
Yep.
But I am eager to talk about stuff. So send emails, and we will do this very, very soon.
We called this one Spring 2026. I think the hope is maybe one a season.
Yeah.
I don't think it is actually spring yet, but it felt weird to call it winter. It's
the beautiful sunset yesterday, the rare British sunset. So it felt like spring for just a hot second.
Yeah, I learned that I every time I say a thing I learned, I know I'm wrong because someone in chat's going to correct me, but I'm pretty sure the calendar used to start with March, so spring was the very start of the year, but the Romans could only appoint generals at the start of the year, and there was like an uprising in Spain, and they were like, we need to deal with this, we can't wait 2 months. Screw it. We'll add 2 months in. They just kind of ignored winter. We'll add 2 months in, and then we can appoint them straight away.
Wow.
And that one rebellion in Spain is why we now have to suffer 2 months of winter at the very start of the year. Without that, this time just wouldn't exist. So to the community, it's going to be, if they have feedback on this format, we'd love to hear it.
Please.
I think hopefully now they understand the kind of questions, and it's not, can you balance this unit? It's more, what are we doing with the franchise? I consider myself a hardcore gamer. With a lot of those questions, I'm an absolute idiot. Yep. I'm not the right person to ask. I'd say, if they ask me the details of how some of the calculations work, I just look at the bars. And I just
don't want to be that meme video that's going around with the McDonald's CEO where he's pretending to eat his lunch, but he clearly doesn't like McDonald's. I actually do like Total War, even if I can't explain all to the same granularity. I'm not the McDonald's CEO. I'm an actual gamer who likes playing games.
Playing Dark Souls, you've got to
be.
Then I'll start wrapping up. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
People can email you at
Roger@totalwar.com, which is one of the coolest email addresses ever. ROGER.
Yes. And you'll be able to find that. We'll probably put it up somewhere.
Please.
But you'll also be able to find that in the end of year message. As a reminder, a lot of the questions you heard today, I think pretty much all of them were all themes from those emails, from Discord, from our forums, from Reddit. So thank you to everyone who's asked those questions and cares so much about our franchise that we're able to take that kind of stuff. Next week's stream will be brand new Medieval 3, asking you guys for feedback about a brand new section that you wouldn't have seen yet. It's really exciting. I'm really excited to do it. We're going to have to move the couches. We'll see if we can get some new banners in time. But that'll be really exciting. We'll do more streams after that. I think the hope is at least one a week now that we've got the room like this. I've bought some displays for my house, so when I do my home streams, I don't have to have that awful circular green screen. So people will start to learn how much I like F1. But yeah, we're going to be doing a lot more streams. We're going to try and balance out ones like this, where it's a lot of talking, with ones that we're playing and everything in between. So thank you so much to everyone who said anything in chat. Our team's captured all the questions today. If there's things we couldn't answer, that doesn't mean we're not going to answer it. We're going to do loads more streams.
Yep.
We're going to have streams with the designers who can maybe answer some of those more specific questions. So follow us here. This is being streamed out to the main Total War channel. Rally points you'll be able to find here. Other streams we do on our Total War Live channel, where there'll be a VOD of this for those who've missed it. But otherwise, that's everything I've got to say. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Let us know if you want to see more of these. And again, thank you so much, Roger, for suggesting this.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much.
Take us out, producer.